Hi, I'm Sarah Ridenauer. I'm the Director of Learning at Sterne.
I'm Zach Bondurant, and I teach English Language Arts in the middle school.
So, Zach, thank you for joining me for our next episode of Reading Roundtable.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
You're the perfect person to discuss our next topic. Today, we're diving into something that often gets overlooked but is essential to reading success. So, fluency. We'll talk about why it's so important and share some practical ways to build fluency in the classroom and at home.
That's great. I recently came across this definition from the National Reading Panel, and it really stuck with me. Fluency is the ability to read a text quickly, accurately, and with proper expression. Simple, but powerful.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. It really captures the core of what fluency is. The purpose of mastery of all these skills is for the student to reach fluency in reading. Fluency practices are all an important part of structured literacy, like we talked about in our last reading roundtable. Students who are low in fluency may have difficulty understanding the meaning of what they read, and fluency develops from reading practice. I think what's less clear for some educators and families is how to build fluency. But here's the thing, building fluency doesn't have to be complicated.
Exactly. I think sometimes people picture drills or stopwatches, but in reality, fluency grows through meaningful, repeated reading, and most importantly, through enjoyable practice. I had a student recently who practiced the same poem for a week. By Friday, she read it like a performer on stage, full of rhythm, pacing, and voice. Her classmates spontaneously clapped.
Oh, I love that story. And honestly, it speaks to something we don't talk about enough, the power of a positive relationship in supporting reading growth. When students feel safe, seen, and encouraged, they're so much more willing to take risks, even when reading out loud.
Totally. I've seen it firsthand. When a student knows you're in their corner, they start to own their progress, giving them voice and choice, letting them pick a funny script, a poem they love, or even reading to a class pet helps make fluency practice feel less like work and more like play.
Yes, make it cute, make it cozy, let them use silly voices, record themselves like a podcast host, or even read to a stuffed animal. When there's joy in the practice, it sticks. And sometimes even a little incentive goes a long way, like earning a badge for best expression, or a 5-minute share time with the class, or extra screen time at home.
Absolutely. Fluency is about rhythm, flow, and voice. And when students feel connected to the material and the people around them, that growth happens so much faster.
And that's the heart of it. Fluency develops through reading practice, but it's the emotional connection and sense of ownership that really bring it to life.
There's so many simple ways to support fluency too. Partner reading, echo reading, reading along with an audiobook, even practicing a script.
Exactly. At home, parents can carve out 5 minutes a day for reading out loud together. It doesn't have to be formal, just consistent. And in the classroom, incorporating performance-based activities like readers' theater or poetry reading makes fluency practice fun and engaging. At Stern, one structure that we use for fluency practice is called Beat the Clock. This practice can also be used at home. So, for Beat the Clock, you're going to read a passage. And the point is to read something that's at the student's reading level. So you've read this book before, The Circuit. Do you guys remember reading this at the beginning of the school year? That's okay. It was a while ago. I picked this passage, and we're gonna read it 4 times, and we're gonna track the time for those 4 times. And the idea is that you progress each time. And after you read it the first time, we might go over some words that gave you trouble, or maybe there won't be anything, and then we'll just do that.
A small town on the coast. She stopped the car by the side of a narrow road near the camp. This is the place I told you about.
It all adds up. Those little moments help students find their voice and see themselves as readers.
So whether you're a teacher or a parent, we hope this conversation sparks some ideas. Ask yourself, what's one small way I can support fluency today? Because even the smallest practice can make a big difference.
Well said, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Zach. And thank you everyone for listening. See you next time on another Reading Roundtable. Cheers.
Cheers.